I'm going to take the keynote on assessment practices and Bloom's taxonomy. So let me brief these notes. So today we are going to discuss about assessment, learning, purpose of assessments, methods of assessments, types of assessments, rubrics, and Bloom's taxonomy. So before going to briefing this all these topics, so in our higher education institutes, assessment plays a major role in assessing the evaluating the students' progress as well as performance, and in order to achieve their goals, in order to make them to learn by their own, and in order to make them think, in order to make them create wonders. So assessment will play the crucial role in overall higher education in all the higher education institutes. So basically an assessment is an evaluation process, systematic process what we observe from the student. The observed data may be knowledge or skills or attitudes, whatever the things. So mainly these all the things will be observed together to refine the programs as well as to improve the student learning. So here there is a slight difference between the assessment and evaluation. So coming to assessment, it will increase the quality as well as it is used to um, enhance the process to make the students to learn, enhance the students performance day by day, as it is an ongoing activity. So evaluation will depends upon the measuring process of outcomes to their goals what they are achieving in further. So evaluation entirely depends on judging the quality. So assessment will increase the quality, evaluation will judging the quality. So for anything we need to measure, we need to learn first. Learning is the process of acquiring the knowledge, understanding behavior skills. We will adopt the behaviors, we will show some attitudes. According to that, we will perform the specific task. So anyone in this world will be in the process of learning. So if it comes to the machine, we will call it as machine learning. If it comes to plants, they will learn about the growth behavior, they will have the growth behavior. So different things will exhibit different behaviors after acquiring that specific skill. So see here, can anyone tell who is this person? So he is.
Former US President, madam.
No, sir. So he is Henry Fiscal, who invented the examinations. So he is the American businessman as well as philanthropist. So he is the first person who invented the empirical assessments in China. So he is the father of the assessments. So according to him, what are the main basic reasons for assessments are? So how much we need to identify a person, how much a person will learn. So at a given point of time, how many things we can learn, and the ability of the person to make him learn by himself. These are the reasons for the assessments. We need to identify all these sort of things. So before going to that, um, in 2010, Strum and Gleason, like Henry Fiscal, so they gave a paradigm based on the world-class language based upon the language assessment. So they suggested that assessments are mainly have the purpose to check the progress of proficiency, as it is language related activity. So we will first check for the proficiency, then attaining the national standards. So basically for languages we need to attain five c's, that is what called like communication, culture, connections, comparisons, as well as communities. And according to them, assessments are used to guide and improve the student performance, evaluate and inform instruction, and program design, whatever the program we have in our curriculum. So we need to evaluate that program till the end. And we need to make the connection between the instruction as well as assessment. So in the same year, Brown and Avikrama has introduced assessment as the compulsory thing for teaching, learning, as well as continuous learning process. So they suggested that periodic assessments are very necessary, either they will be in formal way or informal way. Let me demonstrate the formal and informal. By the end of this session, I may ask some questions. Any questions to the entire crew or whoever listening this session? So that is an informal way. The chat or any questions I have asked to the students or listeners. So that is what called informal way. If I conducted any quiz related activity or any um, like any feedback form type of questionnaire, then it will be formal. Okay, so basically these assessments will retain the information. So what these assessments are for is nothing but to retain the information and to make the reinforcement. So to pinpoint specific areas, to introduce these areas in further work. In future they may use these areas. And so they can provide periodic closure to modules within the curriculum. They can promote the students by encouraging students self evaluation progress, and they can encouraging students to set their goals for themselves. And it also use it to evaluate teaching effectiveness. So not only students, it will be beneficiary to main faculty of the higher education institutes, to improve their quality of the teaching, as well as to make the students to learn by themselves and creating the wonders or creating the products. So assessment in learning can vary locally, regionally, or globally. So for this assessments mainly depends upon the type as well as the purpose of the assessments. So according to Cohen in 1994, so we have three levels of assessments. Assessment can be carried at three levels. So administrative, instructional, as well as research oriented. So at administrative level, we have general assessment, we have the types of placements, we have promotions type of assessments for the faculty. Service academic records will be circulated among the faculty every year. So in order to assess the faculty, as well as certifications of the organization, that is what called NAC, NBA, NIRF ranking. So these are all the types of examinations or evaluations at administrative levels. Through instruction level, we can diagnose the information, we can diagnose the particular student, and we can get the evidence of their progress. And we can get through the feedback, we can evaluate the students, or we can improve our own teaching methodologies. In research oriented, as a teacher, as a engineering institute faculty, we need to perform research also. So for research oriented, for an individual decision, so evaluating by themselves, we need to experiment our own domain, and we need to use the long ways, we need to have the long ways knowledge. And whatever the outcomes, here the outcomes may be publications, conferences attending, proceedings, all those sort of things will be comes under these outcomes. So depends upon these levels, Assessment system is introduced or derived defined, which includes all the practices, tools, structures and policies. So mainly the main aim of all these tools is to improve the student learning as well as their achievements. So what are the various tools we have which serves for the different purposes? So we have classroom and continuous assessment systems, that is formative, summative and diagnostic way, and national learning assessments used for monitoring and accounting. For public examinations, so we use for selection as well as certifications, that means UG, PG, NEET, GRE, GATE, all those things will be comes under the public examinations assessments. And international learning assessments related to whatever the instruction based courses like Coursera and sorry Coursera and related things, IBM certified courses, Cisco certified courses, all these will give the benchmarking for the assessment what we have learned in that particular topic. So coming to the methods of assessment, before going to that, so every assessment will comes from the teaching and learning process. It will first gather the evidence first, and the instructor need to give the feedback to the students, and which reflects in the further planning of the next curriculum or the next module. So the teaching learning process will continues the same steps, so that's why it is called assessment cycle. So we have four different categories of assessments. So first one is selected response. So in this, the student may posed a question by the instructor, and he may give more than two answers, more than two responses. So in that, the correct responses will get selected by the instructor. And in the constructed response, so we need to make the students to create, produce their answer that is in more application way. So we will give the situation, and the student need to think according to the question that is asked. It is mainly used in the projects type of evaluations, all those things. So teacher observation is a crucial part throughout the curriculum, throughout every module of the curriculum. So we need to observe, as a teacher we need to observe each and every student and each and every student's progress, whether they are understanding the curriculum or not, whether they are reaching the level to achieving their goals or not. So we make them to learn by themselves, which is called self assessment. So these are the methods of assessment. Coming to um, teacher roles, as in higher education institutes, so a teacher should perform um, several plays or several roles. So we need to perform as mentor, as guide, and as an accountant, as reporter, as program director. As a mentor, we need to give the feedback to the um, each student, and guiding to lead the project work, or to lead to give the information about the specified topic which have chosen by the in the project work. As accountant, we need to gather the records, so we will generally do this during the counseling time. So as a reporter, we need to report to students, parents about their progress, as well as we need to report to the HODs also for their achievements as well as their progress. So it will the accounting and reporting will happens mostly in terms of counseling, while counseling our students. As a program director, we need to uh, adjust the revisions to the instructions, whatever the instructions we have in our curriculum, we can modify that it is mostly happens in the BOS meetings, board of studies meetings, etc. So classroom assessments can be categorized as three types, mainly three types. So assessment for learning, assessment as learning, assessment of learning. Assessment for learning purely supports the classroom teaching and learning activity, and assessment as learning will specifies how to learn, how to make them to learn, how to make them to self reflect or self independent, self assessed. So we will regulate their studies. And assessment of learning will be related to gathering and interpreting the grades and the evidence of the students learning process. So whatever the length we need to observe at the end of the instruction or end of the module or end of the curriculum. So let us go deep into all these items in detail. So first one is assessment for learning, which is most useful in order to uh, identify the student knowledge or skill, in order to um, reach their goals, in order to improve their learning capabilities. So what here, the teacher need to give the feedback for every time to time. Feedback need to be given to the students in order to improve their learning. So these feedback may be of two types. So we can give the feedback like a task focused feedback or ego specific feedback. If we specify the um, student like so you have done a great job, so that uh, that sentence will cut off the thinking or creative thinking of the student. So they will think that there is no need to learn anything more. So they will wind off their learning to that appreciation. So we need to give the task, so let them think. And while giving the feedback we need to give them task. So you have done a great job, um, so why can't you think in that way, why can't you solve this problem in this way? So whenever this scenario happens, what is your solution? So you can pose the questions like this. You can give the feedback, you have done a great job, as well as how can you give the solutions for this scenario. So likewise we need to give the feedback. That is what called task focused. So assessment for learning mainly useful. It is an ongoing process that will monitors the student learning in order to help teachers to improve their teaching, as well as students to improve their learning. So it is mainly benefits to increase the confidence level of the student, and to increase the independency of the student, and to change the classroom environment. So it closes the gap between whatever the learning objectives as well as the achievement of their goals. So it fills the gap, and we will make the students to think like a teacher. So what the teacher think about the students, so where they are now, where they are going, and how to get there. So these are the thinking strategies of the teacher. So we need to make them, give them feedback to make them improve their learning strategies. Assessment as learning will modify their own progress work. That is, it mainly reflects on their self self assessment levels, as well as metacognitive strategies will be applied here. And um, so self independent behavior will be adopted here. The student will adopt all these behaviors in order to uh, make them as may in order to improve their learning skills more and more. Self directed, independent, successful learner. In order to make the successful learners, we need to use this strategy. So for both these assessment for learning and assessment as learning, formative assessments will serve. So we will discuss the what is formative assessment in the latter topics. Okay, coming to assessment of learning, so they will give the evaluation, or they will give the measurement how well the students have learned at the end of the instruction. So it mainly certifies the learning, as well as measuring students overall achievements, as well as their proficiency in that particular topic will be measured here. Okay, let us see the examples for each strategies. So assessment for learning, so we use all these categories for assessment for learning. We need to give the feedback through these all these examples. So first one is concept map, which is an uh, visual representation tool which is used to mainly understand that specific topic. So let me brief this one. So um, if we elaborate the same topic as theory wise, they will not understand. In terms of diagram, they will understand. So the students will get a immediate glance of that particular topic by using the pictorial representation of that particular topic. So how to draw this concept map? So pick a topic, do a quick brainstorm. So what are the steps involved in that particular topic, and start to draw the map. So we need to connect the concepts of that particular thing. If anything is missing, we need to indulge that concept into that particular thing. So let us create a small concept map of this. So let me share my. So this is the creatively.com website. So here we can create the concepts. Okay. So in our session, according to our session, we can create our concept map. So I will create classroom assessment. Assessments. Those are nothing but assessment for learning, assessment for, sorry, assessment as learning, and the third one is assessment of learning. So these are all the, we need to make the connection between all the concepts. So we need to give the connection like R, classroom assessments are R. So here these are the classroom assessment. So for a student, if they created a concept map like this, they will definitely remember that particular topic or domain, so throughout his lifetime. So these concept maps will be useful to create the feedback also. So we can suggest all our students to give this as a main a compulsory thing in order to memorize their topic throughout the curriculum. So let me go to the PPT. So this is what about the concept maps. So otherwise we can give the progress reports of the students progress, how they did in their examinations. So mainly we will see at our schooling level. And we can conduct the survey and checklist what we have observed. So the feedback form will be circulated among the students in order to um, make sure of the effectiveness of the teaching, in order to improve the teachings. So how can we increase the teaching level? So these are all used by this types of surveys. Interviews, we can conduct the interviews or vivas, so they will be useful to give the feedback. And observation sheets, these observation sheets are mainly useful during counseling, so we can observe the behavior of that particular student, so we can report to their parents or as well as administrative faculty. So depends upon the student's behavior. So it is an anecdotal form, which is which gives the detailed description record. It is also, it will give the description of the particular achievement of the students. And research proposals, like not only for research, so for every topic if we follow these steps: introduction, what is the literature survey? Literature survey is nothing but the previous studies of that particular topic. So where it come from, why we are using this, how we can apply this type of um, topic. So methodology will mainly focus on how we can apply the topic. So preliminary data, whatever the data we have already there in with us, so we will be presented here, and set of drawbacks. So at least we need to conclude. So the main research proposals we will see, the faculty will know. The entire thing will rotate around the three questions: what, how, and why. So quizzes, we can conduct the quizzes. So through quizzes, we can evaluate the persons. And through assignments, which is the most important one in our higher education system. So the how to evaluate, what are the main functions of the assignments? So what is to be done, what they are supposed to do, so how the work is to be done, so why they should do that particular work, to connect the new topic. By doing this, how can they connect to the new topic? And overall view of the particular program or subject. And to create a proper attitude towards the performance of the work assigned, how they are performing. And anticipate the difficulties, how they've overcome. We need to create the difficulties, and we need to suggest the ways to overcome them. So we need to give the provisions for individual differences, whatever the assignments will be collected. So we need to give the, I mean, statements like we need to um, uh, we need to give the different grades, right, to different students. So why they have been given good marks, why they have been not given good marks, so we need to justify that. So these are the worksheets, and through homeworks we can give, and performance tasks we can give. So mostly in most of us, I mean, through innovative type of subjects, so we can give the performance tasks, so make them to learn by their by themselves. And essay writings, questioning strategies, most important one. While giving the questions, we need to follow these two types, that is closed type of questions as well as open type of questions. closed type, and open type. So open type is entirely restricted to it is an extended response. The open type will be given an extended response. That is what that means. So they can think over beyond the topic. So closed one will be depends upon the restricted response. See here, what are the stages of cell division? So they will be restricted to the stages of the cell division. So here they will think of the examples of the adjective. So first they need to think what is an adjective, then they need to think what could be the example of the adjective. So at lower level, we will give the questions like reviewing or summarizing type of topics. So at higher level, we need to give the problem solving type of questions, and we need to give the students to think, to seek information of their own, to get the information of their own. So these are the types of questionnaires. And next one is graphic organizers. So while preparing for the topic, we have different types of graphic analyzers: basic outlines, Venn diagrams, through hierarchical topical analyzer, bubble type of analyzer, organizer will be used. So while we are preparing for the examination, if we follow the concepts in this way, we can easily remember that particular concept. We will make the students to learn at that particular concept and to enhance their learning. So these are the most interesting ones. That is collaborative activities. We can conduct the GDs, we can conduct the brainstorms, we can conduct the quizzes, anything. So we can conduct the games, whatever the games we have: listening triangles, think, pair, share, snowballing, barrier games, rainbowing. So these may improve their learning, the student learning. So coming to assessment as learning, we have different types of examples like journals, self assessment. Self assessment means they can be evaluated by themselves. We will make the students to evaluate by themselves. And peer assessment means they can be evaluated by their co-mates or co-students or the instructors itself. Personal learning logs, it is the form of diary. They can use this for how far they learned, how far they behaving, where they are. So they need to learn where they are. So what is the next step need to learn? So that will be in this personal logs. So logs are nothing but some type of sort of diaries. And coming to assessment of learning, sorry, one second. So assessment of learning will entirely depends upon the end examinations, mid examinations. Periodical tests will be related to mid examinations, final examinations, performance tasks. These are all we experience in time of projects, final viva presentation, standardized tests, and the end of unit tests. By the end of module, we can conduct the test and we will grade them. By the end of the module, we can give the assignments and we will grade them. um, so long examinations, all the grading examinations will comes under the assessment of learning. So overall, to be the assessment should be valid and reliable and effective. So all these strategies must follow these principles. So first one is self-regulated learners, as we already discussed before topic. So as a instructor, we need to regulate the students by giving them feedback after. performing their examinations, after performing their end tasks. So we need to make them as self-regulated learners. And the second principle is the feedback assessment. Whatever the feedback and assessment we need to take while self-regulating, we need to self-regulate the students by two process. One is assessment and another one is feedback. These two should be clear to both the staff as well as students, and they should be they should be justified with the program outcomes what we have defined during the starting of the course curriculum. So, all these assessment and feedback must be related to the program level approach, and the whatever the approaches that brings the partnership, that brings the connection between the staff and students, and so as an instructor, we need to give the experience if they are new to the particular assessment method. For example, if they are new regulation, so if we have changed the questionnaire pattern, like we have changed it to 15 marks questions, or one, sorry, single question that consists of 10 one mark questions. So we need to make them experience that particular pattern. So we need to give the relevant study of that particular assessments. So should students should experience a diverse range of assessment methods like quizzes, MCQs, fill in the blanks, and end examination pattern, mid examination pattern, and assignments. All those things they need to experience. So this feedback and assessment should be manageable for staff as well as students, and they should be enhanced, and they should be used in our professional development while we are monitoring, while we are make them to learn new things and consolidated things related to companies. As I am a CSE background, if the topic related to the, we need to make them learn to the professional development. So whatever the technologies related to the companies to make them to participate in the placements, so we need to make them to learn further professional development. And this feedback should enable the policies. They need to follow the higher education policies, whatever the policies are there, they need to follow that. Coming to dimensions of the assessments, we have different dimensions and different types of dimensions for assessments. So we have basically three levels of assessment dimensions. So first one is perspectives. Perspectives is nothing but the point of view of a particular person. So student can access themselves by their point of view, or they can be accessed by others point of view. So here instructor will play the role of observer. So they will assign other students to access other students. They will assign the other students to access the co-colleagues of the particular class. The students will be assessed by their friends. And in the next dimension, we have three forms of assessments. So assessment of learning process, assessment of learning achievements process, assessment of learning prognostic. So we will discuss all these forms detail uh, just in a few minutes. So in the third dimension is standards of reference. So for an assessment, a teacher can orient himself or herself on individual standard. That means they can um, motivate the student, make them to learn by themselves, or make them to learn according to the learning objectives what we have defined, or social standard, make them to learn along with the different students within the same class or with the same group persons. So these are all standards. So let us discuss the one by one. So first one is perspectives. So we have, as I said earlier, so there is two point of views: self point of view and perception point of view by others. So at an earlier stage, there is a little similarity between our opinions and others' opinions. So the teacher or instructor need to assign the students in order to make the different viewpoints to be laid down and discussed. So after discussions, after group meetings, after joint discussions, so in the next step, there will be a higher similarity between the different point of views of others as well as our point of view. So these are basically the perspectives of assessments. And the forms of assessment of learning process. This could be formative. Okay, so it is used to mainly to serve to improve and check the student learning process. All the assessments usages are to improve the student learning process. So how we are improving the student learner process? So by using these methodologies: self assessment, peer assessment is nothing but they can be assessed by the others, portfolios, they can prepare their own diaries, rubrics, exhibitions, expos, standardized tests, whatever the quizzes conducted during the modules of the curriculum. So these are the types of assessments. So if they are graded, if they are sums of the knowledge at the end of the whatever the student has required, we need to sums of the knowledge. That will be comes under the student of learning achievements. Okay? At earlier stage, we will give the student of learning process. So we will make them, we will give the feedback, whatever they performed. So first one is formative assessment. So here we will inform the instruction. As a faculty, we will inform the instruction and we will give the tasks to perform, to make the students to perform. So we will examine the student work and to get the feedback to improve for the next level of instruction. So here formative assessment will be used by the instructor to adjust their ongoing instructional procedures. So day by day they need to improve their teaching effectiveness. There should be somewhat change in their next level of their teaching, and by students to adjust their learning tactics, they need to learn more. So this all for formative assessments. So let us brief this formative assessment with the examples. So inline in class quizzes or online quizzes, these are all comes under the formative assessments. Homeworks, peer feedback activities, submitting a blog spot for feedback, and problem solving classes, practicing exams. So these are all examples of the formative assessment. And coming to summative assessment, which sums up the knowledge and skills of that particular student. So it is a way to measure, as I already said, it will give the measurement between the learning objectives as well as the goals. So how far they reached their goals, uh, where are they, and how far, what are the next steps to reach the achievements. So this is all will comes under the summative assessments. So during this summative assessment, um, we need to give questionnaire for ourselves, like what information did the students routinely master, so how they will like, and what are the strengths and weaknesses in this instructional plan, and is there any need to develop further teaching or enrichment activities, or are there any common gaps in the learning. So these are the questions need to be identified in summative assessment. So let us give the examples for summative assessments. So written unseen examinations, MCQs, open exams, seen exams, essay submissions, videos, audios, websites, portfolios, all these will comes under the summative assessment. Whatever the grade, whatever the evaluation measure you have given at the end of the instruction or end of the module will be the summative assessment. Let me give the small scenario related to this formative, what is formative and what is summative. uh, let's take the cooking procedure. If you are cooking a dish, if you are a cook in a particular restaurant, you are cooking the dish. If the dish is tasted by the cook itself, that is what called formative assessment. If the dish is tasted by the customers of that particular restaurant, then it will be summative assessment. So this is the main difference between formative and summative. So where we need to use, what is the purpose of formative strategy and summative strategy? Mainly, formative strategy will help the students to learn and practice. Summative strategy will assess the students' performance at the end of the instruction we will give. So, when it will be given throughout the course, formative assessment can be given throughout the course. Summative assessment will be given at the end of the instructional period or end of the particular curriculum or end of the module will be given for the summative strategy. Why? Why for the formative assessment? To identify the gaps and improving learning. For summative, we need to collect evidence of students' knowledge. Why we need to collect the evidence? So in order to report to the parents, students, as well as the administrative levels, we need to collect, as the instructor, we need to collect the proficiency of student knowledge, skills, etc. So how we can perform these formative assessments via approaches that supports the specific students needs. It will be mainly feasible for the students. Whatever the feedbacks we have given will comes under the formative assessment. So via exit learning products or cumulative assessment will be given in summative assessments strategies. So let me give the detailed description in the view of student as well as faculty. So in the view of faculty, the formative assessment is used to monitor student learning and their progress and their understanding level, as well as our teaching efficiency. In terms of students, the formative assessment will be used for the students to evaluate their own learning, to build their knowledge, and to identify their strengths and weaknesses, to improve learning, and to target on further learning in future. So for summative, in terms of staff, it is used to measure whether a student has meet the learning outcomes what we have designed at the starting stage of the curriculum or program design, instructional design. So what extent they reached, all the students have reached. So at the end of the study, we need to measure that. As a faculty, we need to give the further improvements in future iterations, whatever the future next regulations will be there. So we need to implement all these strategies. Whatever the gaps we observed, we need to fill the gaps. So for students, they need to understand their overall performance in the unit of study, that particular end of the study. They need to understand how far they reached their learning outcomes, where they are, whether they are meeting the learning outcomes or not. So both these formative and summative assessments are mainly used for student, make the students to learn, make to improve the student learning process, and they will give the opportunities to give the feedbacks. As for the faculty, they are useful to evaluate our effectiveness of the teaching. So as we have three assessments, classroom assessment, assessment as learning, assessment for learning, assessment of learning, and it is co- consolidated with these two types of assessment, that is formative and summative. So coming to formative strategy, so assess in formative strategy will always follow assessment for learning as well as assessment as learning strategies. So here student is the decision maker. So in assessment of learning, which is followed by the summative strategy, there teacher is the decision maker. So they need to give the grades, they need to give the CGPA, they need to give the SGPA, all those things. So they need to give the mid examination, semester examination. So all the grades will be given here. Here, teacher is the decision maker. For the remaining things, student is the decision maker. They need to learn themselves. The self monitoring system will be done here. So, what are the possibilities of assessment? What is assessment? What is testing? So, assessment, we can observe the students and we can conduct day to day tests. By that, we can give the feedback to the students and we can test after the end of the unit or end of the module or curriculum. So, we need to regularly observe the student. Possibilities of testing related to observing students while performing a specific task, how they are completing that particular task, and individual conversation, that means group discussion about that particular task, and asking question, that means application oriented scenarios will be given, will be posed to the students to make them to test their ability. So at the starting point I have told that in order to test the ability of the person, so we need to test the ability and skill of the person by improving, by implementing the testing procedures. So prognostic assessment, the last form of assessment in the second dimension is prognostic. So it means an estimation and prediction of the future career, how they will be in future by using these two forms. They how they articulate, how they consolidate these two strategies to uh, make them use in their future. So it is basically combines the basic aspects of both the process, assessments of learning process, assessment of learning achievements process, and try to diagnose the student future, so how far they learned according to their skills. So the remaining, the third dimension is standard of references. So we have three standards of references. The first one is individual criterion, as already discussed. So here a student work is compared with his previous work, previous status. So in the first meet you gain this, in the second meet you gain this, so overall student performance will be observed. So it is mostly observed during the counseling procedures. So as an instructor, as a teacher, we will do this individual criterion during counseling. Objective criterion is nothing but their learning procedure will be compared with the learning objectives, how far they learned the how far they reach the learning objectives. And during the social criterion, they will be compared with the other students in the same class or the same group age mates. So these are the standards we have used, we generally use during the assessments. So whatever the criterion we have taken, see here, reference figure. So what is the reference for all these things? So for individual criterion, we will get the learning progress. For objective criteria, we will take the learning objective as reference. And for social, we need to take the average, distribution of the curve, and deviation. We will take all those things to in order to um, judge the social criterion and information. So at that time, That is what I said. So in individual criterion, at the time of mid 1 you have done this, at the time of mid 2 you are doing this. So this is your progress. So we need to observe how far they learn between time to time, and to what extent has the student approached the learning objectives what we have um, given at the time of the curriculum, at the time of the starting of the curriculum objective criterion. So in terms of social, how big is the deviation? So what is the average of the class? So type of assessments in the individual criterions, we can take the tests or oral verbal assessments. Generally during counseling we will assess the verbal assessments, and we will observe the behavior of that particular student. And during the objective criterion we will give the goal oriented test, like you need to prepare, you need to get the achievements, so you need to give the goal to the student, you need to give the specific task, so they will be performed, they will be learned, uh, they improve their learning in that particular scenario. So the grade oriented test will be given in social criterion, so in order to calculate the average of the class. So the overall picture is entirely related to the self assessment practice. So basically the self assessment practice will have three phases. Mainly the self assessment is the um, process which enables the learner to set their learning goals and be responsible for their own learning. So and it evaluates their own work and think about their own learning. These all things will happen in self assessment. Basically there are three phases. First one is launch self assessment, second one is collect and analyze the information, third one is report and develop an improvement plan. So in launching the self assessment, we need to define the scope of the self assessment, what we need to do in the first week, what we need to do, what process we need to launch with our colleagues and partners, what we need to learn in the self assessment. During this no feedback will be provided. During the collection of during the second phase, collect and analyze information. So we need to collect the feedback from the either from instructors or from the co-philomates. So the staff feedback will be given or the community feedback. Community is nothing but the reminding people in the class, whatever the class is there, so that represents the community. So in the last phase, to improve the plan, so we need to get the partner feedback. Partner feedback is nothing but where they are in the future. So develop a summary report and improving the plan, analyzing the survey results. So this is all will comes under the phase 3. So these are the basic three phases for self assessment. So during this self assessment, we need to give the learners to list a as an instructors we need to give a list of questions like what made sense, what did not make sense, how does this subject will fit, what I already know, what did I do well, what could I have been improved. So these are all the general questions can be posed to the students to ask themselves in order to self assess. So another thing is they can prepare their learning log what we have discussed during the assessment as learning. So it is basically an learning document that how far how they experienced, what are their recent experiences. So this is all about the self assessment. So overall procedure is for continuous learning process. As we are the instructors, as we are the teacher, a teacher is always a learner. So we need to set our plan and we need to set our goal. We need to analyze our goal, and in order to development, in order to give the effectiveness of the teaching, we need to implement that plan, and we need to evaluate the formative assessment, then summative, then self assessment. So this is a continuous process. Excuse me. So it is basically the life cycle of the continuous learning process. Okay. So as we are in this pandemic situation, uh, our teachers should be aware of all these things, e-assessment tools, whatever the e-assessment tools we have. We all know about the Google Forms. I think most of our faculty members will be familiar with the Google Forms, and most of them. So let me demonstrate some among these all the formative assessment tools. So we need to use these tools in a regular fashion. So by the end of the module of the curriculum, and by the end of the unit, we need to give this in order to get the progress, how the student is learning, how the student is understanding base. Especially in this pandemic situation, we need to monitor. We the teachers are responsible to make them understand the specific topic, and understand the effectiveness of that particular topic. So let me share my screen. So this is the interface of the quizzes website. um, there you can create, first you need, as a faculty you need to sign in. Then we can create the quiz or lesson. So for creating quiz, all the relevant topics will be there here. So we need to give the quiz name, FTP, and I will choose the computers. Whether we need to choose multiple choice or checkbox, fill in the blanks, poll, open ended. So these are the types of questions. So whatever the new question we have to give, we need to choose this type of questions. Let me take the multiple choice. uh, in that you can give the questionnaire like, um, in terms of programming. Okay. uh, how many oops paradigms are there? Okay, so first option 4, 5, 3, 6. So we know the paradigms, Hoove's paradigms, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, as well as polymorphism. So the basic answer is 4, So we need to save this question. If we want to add another option, you can add by using add answer option, and save this. So this is saved. So you can duplicate this question like Google form. You can duplicate this question. That means you can give the same format to the next question also, and we need to give done here. So you can give the title image, any image. So it is basically related to university and professional development, or you can give. So it will be visible to public, everyone. Save. And so we can give the modes like start a quiz. That means classic type, and you can assign the homework like you can give the date like MS Forms. You can assign the end date, and you can assign all the whatever the work you have given. As we are going through the online classes, most of us will be familiar with the MS Teams. So in this MS Teams also, in the MS Teams also, we have this option. So we will continue, and this is all about quiz, and we can generate the reports here, and our library. So what we have developed the quiz all will be in our library, and classes. So mostly 50 members for per classroom will be allowed. So we need to create classroom in order to conduct the quiz first. So creating classroom. So I think it is more than 50 participants. So that's why. So if it is more than 50 members, we need to get the pro code. We need to buy the package. This is about the quizzes, and let me share. Let me share another one. Class marker. Uh, so this is a class marker. You need to log in first. In the dashboard, you will have the test question bank. Like Moodle, we can create our own question bank, or we can export the questions, or import the question spreadsheet questions. In the Moodle also, we need to export the questions, right, by using the HTML code tags. So, so in the same way, in the class marker, we can create the quizzes. Oh, I already created here. What is the abbreviation of RAM? So I can duplicate this question or edit this question. So we can create our own questions, and we can give that in our community or groups links. We can share the link of the questions, or we can share the link of the something quiz in this link. This link will be directed to that particular quiz directly, and whatever the tests we have. Yesterday I created this one. So if I assign, so it will ask for sending a link. So it will ask for the upgrading, because this has been adopted. So I will send this link to the group. So I need to create the group. For creating group, I need to give the group name FTP create. So I need to add members. Group members will be assigned. In the case of your classroom, you need to add members of your students. So at a time 50 members will be allowed, I think. Okay, this is all about the class marker. Let me stop this one and share uh, Kahoot. So another one is most interesting one, Kahoot. It is like a Ludo game. So before entering into the Kahoot, we need to press on as a teacher option. So in that one only, we will get the sign up page. There will be different sign up phase for teachers and different sign up phase for students. So here it will be like most interesting one. It will be like gaming. So the students may feel like the assessment in an interesting way. So in order to create the assessment in an interesting way, and use Kahoot. So we can create the Kahoot by using this create button. So new Kahoot will be creating, and see, this is a Ludo game. So every option will be having different colors will be there. So again, I am giving number. What are the options? So abbreviation of RAM, ROM. Okay. So random only memory, random once memory, read only memory, read only memory, and read once memory. So here the read only memory will be given, and here you can give the time limit. So it will be appear to the students for the 20 seconds only. So you can give the points to that particular question. So single select or multi select, players can select multiple answers, no single answer. So you can use this one, or you can give the image of your computer and add question. So done. So enter Kahoot title, FTP quiz. Okay, continue. So play now, share it to others. So question time is when I need to assign this challenge. So today itself, what is the time now? 11:30, 12, I think. So we can give the scheduling time, or can share among others. So this is the link, and this will be copied here. I will post in chat box. Where is the chat box? Sorry. So in the chat box, I'm posting the link. So it will be more interesting one. So everyone can try this one. And so you can view the reports. So whoever click this link will get the pin. So using the gaming pin, they will gain that particular assessment. So we can view the assessment here in report session. So we can share this in our groups. So we can create the groups of it is also about 50 members. So if we want to create another group, then we need to upgrade. So this is all about some of the assessment tools. Let me stop share and share my PPT. Okay. So this is all about the online assessment tools, some of the assessment tools. If the time permits, I will allow the remaining ones. And the next one is rubrics, the most important one, which is a most important assessment tool for our teachers. So it basically gives the piece of information what counts, and we will give the grades and quality of each criterion, whether excellent, poor or medium, etc. So why we use these rubrics? It is used to visually track the progress patterns and use it to assess the strengths and weakness of the particular process and to determine the degree of consensus. So these are the basic uses of rubrics. So what are the rubrics will contain? So it basically contains the three parts: dimensions, scales, as well as descriptors. So these dimensions, uh, so criteria will be given. Criteria are the performance indicators. These are the performance indicators will give the aspects of the performance which we need to assess, which we are going to assess. Then these are all will be given here. Next, scale of performance is nothing but rating scale, whether it is the level of mastery with that particular criterion, that is satisfactory, unsatisfactory, developing, exemplary. So these are the scales. And the descriptors are mainly the characteristics associated with these criterions and these scales. So let us see this with the small construction. So basically in constructing a rubric, we have four steps. First, we need to determine the topic. That is the obvious thing. And second one, we need to list the outcomes as well as objectives of that particular curriculum or module. So mainly it will be used to map COs and POs. As a faculty, we can map the COs and POs. So that is what called rubric, COPO mapping, and determine the criteria for success. So whatever the criteria, whatever the performance indicators we have given, so it will be indicated here, and describe the assessment measures. So in selecting the topic, we need to pose the questions to ourselves. So what is the purpose of this topic? So we need to analyze all these questions. So what do you the users will gain, what skills the users must have to develop by obtaining this topic. So we need to analyze, then we need to prepare the rubric. And listing the learning outcomes, what specific outcomes have to be identified for that particular topic, and what skills need to be completed and required to achieve these learnings, and what are the types of evidences do you want to see. This will be under. And determining the criteria, while selecting the criteria, we need to use the knowledge level wordings first. That means factual, conceptual. It should be factual, conceptual, procedural, and metacognitive way. The criteria, the whatever the performance indicators we have taken, they should be in terms of knowledge. They need to test the knowledge. And during this evaluation process, we can create the questionnaire like this kind of thing. What is the remembrance level of the factual things? What is the understanding level of the factual things? What is the application level of factual thing? Likewise, we can create. And while giving the assessment levels, basically we can give the 3 to 5 point scale. Okay, meeting expectations to achieving expectations. So basically we have while considering 3 point scale, so the middle one is obviously optimum level of performance, either the right way or left way, you can consider in either way. If it is a right level of column, you need to give the highest level of performance. If it is left level, you need to give the lowest level of performance. Let us analysis with a small example like a assessment of chocolate chip cookie. So what may be the criterion? So while assessing the chocolates, we need to uh, test the texture, appearance, taste. So whether they are achieved below expectation level, meet expectations, exceeding expectations. So these are all the achievements levels. So what are the descriptors for the texture and below expectations? So either it is overcooked or undercooked. In medium level expectations, it is okay, crispy and chewy. In beyond the expectations, it is most wonderful way, crispy outside and chewy inside, like melody. So appearance, it will be burnt or raw, partly brown, thicker on the edges and thinner in center, golden brown, thicker in center and thinner on edges. So likewise we can give the descriptors. So let us analysis with the another example like oral presentation, like my presentation. So how is my content? So full understanding of the topic, good understanding, does not seem to be understanding, and stays whether I am staying on the topic, uh, whether it is an exemplary way, competent and developing. So see here, we can take either way. So either left level will be at the highest level, then the right level will be the lowest level. uh, Anyway, any obvious thing is that the middle level is the optimum level. So eye contact will not be there as it is an online session. So eye contact criterion will be replaced by some other criterion. So let us take an example. Let us give the practice of that rubric. Um, so let's take the assessment rubric for our project, whatever the project we have taken. So whether they are meeting the goals or not. So let us do this with this rubric tools. So these are the rubric tools. We can create our own rubrics by using Ruby Star and iRubric. So let me demonstrate this. Stop share and iRubric. So so do along with me. So creating, this is the R campus rubric, the second one. So here we can create the rubrics. Okay, create our own rubric. Uh, Build rubrics. So in that build will be there. So either you can log in or you can make it as a guest. So build from scratch or revise my existing rubric, already created some rubric. So we are building from scratch. So we need to do this thing. Okay, I need to log in. Sorry, somewhere I forgot this login, I think. Okay. Create login, not. And okay. Use not a member. Own rubrics. Educator. Continue. Sorry for the delay. Okay. Somewhere. Okay, let me demonstrate another one. Ruby star. So this is Ruby star. So we have already created rubrics will be there. So for oral projects, we can use this one. So let me take this interview. So we can create the situation, whatever the rubrics we have created. So related to this particular interview. So for suppose preparedness. So for preparedness, they will be given the inbuilt descriptions will be given here. Before the interview, uh, student has prepared several in-depth and factual questions to ask. So at the level 3, this is what called scaling. So the scaling is should be between 3 to 5 point scale. So if you are not up to the mark with this descriptor, you can change using reset. Okay, so likewise we can create the rubrics by using these two tools. So there is a slight login problem with the R campus, otherwise it will be very nice. Okay, let me share my PPT, and we are running out of time. So this is all about the rubrics. We can practice the rubrics for project evaluation, uh, thing project evaluation. So for project evaluation, we can identify the problem, likewise things. So the next important one, the part 2 of my session is Bloom's taxonomy, which is the most important one in constructing the questionnaires, mainly useful for the faculty members in order to prepare the questions at different levels. So let me start my session. So mainly our education system, our Indian education system, quality of the examinations will matters a lot. So we as we are the Indians, we will employ the assessment drive learning. See, assessment drive learning mainly focus on what and how the students will learn depends upon the major extent how they think and they will be assessed. So they need to think how they will be assessed, how they will be judged, how they will be evaluated. The students should think and learn in that way. So that is what called assessment drives learning. So in our education system, Indian education system mainly depends upon this type of learning. So Bloom's taxonomy. So mainly, what is the main specific reasons for Bloom taxonomy is that it mainly designed to use it to design the curriculum and to improve the teaching methodologies, to design the appropriate examination questions, etc. So these are the main uses of Bloom's taxonomy. And it is introduced by Benjamin Bloom in 1956, and later in 2001 it is refined or modified by Cawthorne. So we have basically three levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So one is cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Cognitive domain entirely related to the knowledge based domain, knowledge based. So how far they acquire the knowledge and understanding knowledge. And affective, how they are behaving, that means their attitude will be evaluated in the affective domain. And psychomotor will be evaluated in terms of skills, what are the skills they have, what are the skills they possess, will be examined or evaluated in psychomotor form. So these are the basic levels of Bloom's taxonomy. We divide the learning in three basic laws. So in cognitive, we will think of creating, evaluating, analyzing, applying, understanding, and remembering. This is what called Bloom's taxonomy. This is revised Bloom's taxonomy by Cawthorne. And affective, in affective manner, so we will evaluate the attitude of that particular student. So characterizing the values, organizing and conceptualizing, valuing, responding, receiving. So these are all will comes under the affective one. And psychomotor, naturalization, articulation, precision, values, manipulations, imitations. So these are all skills will be calculated in psychomotor path. So before that, all the Bloom's taxonomy wordings will be in noun form. So later in by revising, they will be converted in the verb form. So see here. So knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Before revising this Bloom's taxonomy, the older version will contains the noun forms. So the revised ones will start from remembering, understanding the concept, applying the concept, analyzing the concept, and evaluating and creating their own thinking, creating some product in the um, uh, learning. So cognitive domain includes thinking, knowledge, and application of the knowledge. So it is mainly used in the engineering education structure of assessments. So we as we are the engineering faculty, so we mainly follow the Bloom's taxonomy in our higher order abilities to know order to characterize the higher order abilities. So there are basically six level of competencies, which is of cognitive domain. That means we will mostly test on the knowledge based. So whatever there, so here all are in verb forms. So it is an hierarchical way, low level to higher level. So at the higher level, we will be attained skills. We will require the skills to create some product. At low level, we need to remember the topic. We need to review the summarize that particular facts. So remembering level, recall the memory of the previous learned material. Whatever the material we have learned, we need to remember that. We need to understand the topic and explaining the ideas and concepts, applying using this information. We need to apply to the different situations and analyzing. So we need to make it as broke into different informations and understanding various relationships among that particular topic. We need to evaluate to take and justify a certain course of action in creating. We need to get the ideas in developing products, new ways of thinking, viewing things. So likewise, let us give the let us demonstrate each level with the smaller examples. In the remembering level, we need to have the ability to recall the information like facts, conventions, definitions. So whatever there, we need to get the knowledge based level of information. We need to recollect the information. So what are the type of questions we may expect? List, define, tell, describe, recite, recall, identify, show, label, tablet, quote, name, who, when, where. So these are all comes under these question verbs will comes under the remembering type of questions. So let us see with an example. So state Ohm's law, list the physical and chemical properties of the silicon, list the components of AD converter, list the arithmetic operators in increasing order of precedence. So define the purpose of constructor. So these are all the questions at the remembrance level. The next level is understanding level. Here we can understand the information, grasp some meaning and grasping some concept, and we will translate this knowledge to the new context, and we will interpret these the facts we have learned earlier, and we will compare this and we will give the information. So what are the verbs here? Describing, explain, paraphrase, restate, associate, constant, contrast, summarize, differentiate, interpret, discuss. So examples are explain the importance of sustainability. So for answering this, they need to understand the concept of sustainability first in engineering design, and they need to give the importance of the sustainability in engineering design. So here, let me give the syntax. Explain the syntax. As I am the CSE background, I will mostly search for the CSE questions only. So explain the syntax for the for loop. So for answering this, they need to first understand what is for loop, what we are using the for loop. Then we will give the syntax of the for loop, what are there in that particular syntax and example of that particular for loop. Application level. So in this application level, using the information, we use the methods and we will apply to the new situations, new scenarios. So solving problems using required skills or knowledge and demonstrating the current uses of method or procedure. So these are all will be discussed at the application level. So what are the verbs we can use? Calculate, predict, apply, solve, illustrate, sell, use, demonstrate, determine, model, experiment, show, examine, modify. These are the question types. So here we have the sample questions like write an algorithm to implement stack using queue. So first we need to get the um, understanding of what is stack, what is queue, then how to apply this stack to the queue. Okay, so here application level questions. So here is a small example of the process in operating system scheduling algorithms. So we need to observe these process and we need to apply the shortest job first scheduling algorithm to this process. So in order to calculate the average waiting time as well as the arrival time as well as the completion times of these three process. So first we need to understand what is shortest job first scheduling algorithm. Then how we will apply this algorithm to all these process, and how to calculate the average waiting time. What is the average waiting time? How to calculate the average waiting time for these three process. So fourth one is analysis. So we break down the complex problems into small tasks. So classifying, outlining, break down, categorize, analyze, diagram, illustrate, infer, select will all comes under the analysis forms. Identifying the missing information, sometimes the redundant information, and the contradictory information if any. So let us see with the examples. So analyzing, so we need to get the information of return statement. Return statement can only be used to return a single value. So first we need to break down the sentence into concepts. Can multiple values, okay, here, multiple values be returned from a function? Justify your answer. So first we need to break down the return statement. What are the single values, what are the multiple values, how to return to a specific function. We need to get analyzed first. We need to break down the question into some forms, and we need to answer the each and every concepts. See here, Carly wants to store the details of the students studying first year. Later on wishes to retrieve information about the students who scores the highest marks in each subject. Specify the scenario where the data can be organized as 2D array or as multiple 1D arrays. So first they need to understand the topic, how the students details can be organized, how the what are the format of the 1D array, what are the data we need to take into the 1D array, roll number, marks, name. So these are the details of the students. So we need to organize each and every record of the students into 2D array. Swapping of the data in a linked list. So we need to understand the linked list first, then swapping of the data, and how we apply the swapping of the contents in that particular linked list. So these are the analysis levels questions. So coming to evaluating, we will compare and discriminate between the ideas and assess the theories, presentations, make choices based on the recent arguments, verifying values of evidence, recognizing subjectivity, use of definite criteria for judgments, sorry, etc. So what can be used here? List, define, tell. These are the remembrance levels, and along with this, we can give assess, decide, choose, rank, grade, test, measure, defend, recommend, convince, select, judge, support, conclude, argue, justify, compare, summarize, evaluate. So these are the words we can use at evolutionary level. In creating level, we can use old ideas to create the new ones. So we will use design, formulate, building, invent, create, compose, generate, derive, modify, develop, and integrate. So we will predict and draw conclusions in this level. So we will relate the knowledge from the several areas. So both these evaluate and create are related to higher order cognitive skills, that is creation. So whatever the six levels we have identified so far, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and last one is creating. So these two fall under the last category, the higher order skill category. So here basically examples how what can be assessed is projects, open-ended examinations, problem solving exercises will be assessed. So here these are the scenarios: automatic tethering of milking machines to udder of a cow. A milk dairy wants to automate the milking process. So design a system, we need to design a particular system to that satisfies all these criteria given in the question. So we need to analyze that. We need to apply, define another system. So we need to design another system here. So likewise, we can prepare the higher order questions. So how these questions will be affected in Bloom's taxonomy levels assessmented through. So these levels, so for the first three levels, we can assess the course projects, mini projects, minor projects, capstone projects, which can be observed during our self-paced courses. So the all our evaluating the top three levels will be observed in our courses. So these are the fixed hour examinations like sem end exams or um, CAE stands for second sem end examinations, and course ending examinations will be evaluated here. So the last four levels will be given in the sem end examinations. So mostly up to application level we can give. Analyzing level somewhat will be given to the higher domain like project works, like sort of things. So in this century, we mostly concentrate on our professional skills in order to accessing the higher order abilities. So the important skills we need to develop is soft skills, generic skills, transferable skills. So these are the main attributes of graduate engineer. So they mainly focus on communication, teamwork, understanding ethics and professionalism, and understanding global and societal context, lifelong learning, knowledge of contemporary issues. They will be reflected in NBA graduate attributes. So the higher order thinking questionnaire will mostly on these five aspects: real life situation, unfamiliar context, multiple layers of thought, stimulus, non-repetitive. So higher order techniques always higher order level techniques questions will always depends upon this thinking. Higher order thinking questions will always depends upon these five categories. So what are the higher order abilities? What few educational experiences we may give? So in course projects, open-ended examinations, MOOCs, co-curricular activities like SIH, Smart India Hackathon, like those sort of competitions, and e-portfolios, project works, lab record works. Portfolio is nothing but diary, and internship experiences. These are all will be comes under the education, innovative education levels. Now we are moving to the open ended examination. It is also time constrained written exam, but here we will be the students will be tested in terms of application oriented analysis and evaluation at a higher level of Bloom's taxonomy will be given in open book examinations. So while preparing this one, what are the main benefits of this open book is, so obviously less demanding on memory, so we no need to remember, so we need to apply the concepts of the facts. So higher order thinking will takes place, how to solve a problem, and how to react to the real life situation will be um, evaluated here. So while designing the open ended examinations, we need to set the questions uh, that we need to summarize and rewrite, that the we need to give the students to summarize and rewrite it, and they need to give more weightage on application of knowledge, critical thinking, and use of resources for solving real complex engineering problems, and etc. So it is advisable to take less number of questions, and we need to give the most application oriented critical thinking questions in 2 to 3 concepts will be given. So we need to make the students to think over higher education, higher order ability, higher order thinking will be given in the questions while setting the question papers of the open book examinations. So these open book examinations will be very useful in this pandemic situations and while doing our online practices. This is all about assessment practices and Bloom